Segment 3, Race Relations During the Obama Administration. Shelby Steele, quote, "It is not hard to see why Reverend Jackson might have experienced Mr. Obama's emergence as something of a stiletto to the heart. Mr. Obama is so successful at winning gratitude from whites precisely because Mr. Jackson was so successful at inflaming and exploiting white guilt." Explain that.
Jackson is what I call a challenger who says to whites, I will never let you off the hook. I'm going to presume you are a racist until you give me something, and then I'll offer absolution of some kind. But you have to buy your innocence. Bargainers like Obama grant innocence, and that's why they're so well loved. Jackson is saying you have to prove your innocence to me. So Jackson could never go far. Challengers could never be successful broadly in American politics because whites secretly, quietly can't stand them. Can't stand because they have this leverage, this moral authority over them, and they keep using it. Whereas Obama is saying, "I'm not ever going to use it. You can trust that I'm not going to play the race card."
Quoting you once again, "I don't think whites really want change from Obama as much as they want documentation of change that has already occurred."
Yes, I think that's the interesting phenomenon in this election is the hunger for in white America to prove to document this moral progress that white America has made over the last 40 years.
The change we can believe in has already taken place.
The change is already here. If it wasn't here, Obama wouldn't be elected. He's not going to introduce change. He's going to document change that's already here. And I already hear people now that he is elected saying that Jackson and Sharpton and so forth are anachronisms.
All right. So white people, in the very act of electing him, got what they wanted. In their deepest selves, they think they got what they wanted.
That's the illusion.
Now, African Americans in this election turn out in historic proportions and vote for him. I haven't seen final and utterly reliable polling data, but it's clearly by more than 95%.
Yeah,
it is a huge, monolithic turnout. What do black people want from this man?
Both groups, whites and blacks, their real investment in Barack Obama was that he was an opportunity to dispel the stigma that whites have been stigmatized as racist. So, well, if I vote for Obama and he becomes the president, then I'm not a racist and this is not a racist country. The stigma that blacks have lived under is that we're inferior. And so now, if we vote for Obama, if Obama gets to be the president of the United States, he's the paramount, the most powerful man on the planet. How can we be inferior? It puts the lie to that stigma. So both groups had that. I think that was their deepest investment in his presidency, and it was a very powerful force.
Let me quote you once again, but there is an inherent contradiction in all this. When whites, especially today's younger generation, proudly support Obama for his post-racialism, they unwittingly embrace race as their primary motivation, close quote. That is actually a beautifully written, elegant sentence, but it is an introduction to a nightmare, because what it suggests is that in this wonderful moment when we think we've finally put race behind us, we're mired in it more deeply than we were the day before.
Yeah, it's an absolute, there's pathos there. But everywhere I went on my book tour and with regard to this book, and young people would come up, we're beyond your generation. We're going to vote for Obama and so forth. And don't you think that we grew up differently than you did? And no, you didn't. You did not. You are now obsessed with race. Race is the only thing that's driving your interest in Barack Obama. You couldn't even tell me what his policies are. You're never critical of him in any way. If you were free of race, you would not judge him culturally. You would judge him politically. You'd look at his position on Social Security, on all these mundane boilerplate issues that presidents actually have to deal with, his economic policies, and you'd say you like them. You don't never want to see that. you are consumed by race. And that's the I don't know if tragedy is the word, but it certainly is an irony.
And for African Americans, exactly the same thing applies?
Absolutely, absolutely. If you were free of race, then it wouldn't be a 95, 96, 97% black support for Barack Obama. You would be. What's interesting is that, at the very beginning, blacks were not for Barack Obama.
That's right. You make the point that in Iowa, he didn't. What made him was Iowa, which is a white state.
He had to win the white vote in order to convince blacks to then invest in him, and then to emotionally invest that this is a guy who can prove we're not inferior. But
the
before
white validation had to
the
take
white
place
validation, whites had to buy into Barack Obama before blacks would buy into Biden. Another chilling irony, ugly irony.
Barack Obama on affirmative action, quote, "I still believe in affirmative action as a means of overcoming both historic and potentially current discrimination, but I think that it can't be a quota system and that it can't be something that is simply applied without looking at the whole person, whether that person is black or white or Hispanic or male or female," close quote. Mm-hmm. Does he entrench affirmative action more deeply or begin to scale it back?
I think he's going to probably entrench it more deeply. He feels now politically he owes it to blacks who came out in such vast numbers for him. He's a Chicago politician. You pay off your political debts, and so my guess is we're going to have affirmative action, race-based, not class-based, but race-based affirmative action for a long, long time.